All right, thank you for joining us. We're super excited to talk to you today about how you can accelerate your solution development in cloud using our GCP Marketplace. And we're super thrilled to have a great customer, Home Depot QuoteCenter, with us, along with one of our great partners, Matillion, who you may have already heard of yesterday or throughout the conference, talking about their solution and the marketplace. So I'll be covering the cloud marketplace part, and I'll invite Ian and Laura to talk you through what the customer journey and the partner journey looks like for a marketplace. So how many of you are already in Google Cloud today? Great. How many of you are in the process of migrating to Google Cloud? OK, a few of you. So as you know, the moving to cloud journey can be quite overwhelming. You've got to migrate your existing workloads. You've got to figure out how your open source, your VMs, if you're doing containers on-prem, how all of this is going to work in cloud, and how your commercial solutions, those ISVs, the third-party relationships you have, how those are going to work in this new cloud world. At the same time, you're in cloud, so you're learning about all the great new technologies that GCP has to offer, whether it's BigQuery, Kubernetes engine, Cloud ML, et cetera. And what you're trying to do in the process is figure out how do I string all these together to deliver my offerings in cloud. So you're trying to put together GCP products, your own custom-built solutions, third-party solutions, and new applications that you might be building, and putting them all in on Google Cloud. So at the same time, cloud is powerful. GCP lets you, pay only for what you're using, which is great. You get per second, per minute billing for various services. Allows you to easily prototype, spin stuff up, spin it down. If you're running in a large organization, you can have different departments dabbling with different technologies. So it really makes it easy to kind of get quickly up and running in cloud. At the same time, once you've got a workload and you want to run it in production, it's also very easy to scale it up. And that's the beauty of cloud. Now, while the cloud platform is quite strong, the reality is there are always gaps. And this is really where the ISV ecosystem comes in to fill in those gaps, whether it's adding an additional capability on top of maybe a Google Cloud Platform networking function, or actually solving a specific problem, like we'll learn about today with Matillion and ETL. ISVs are there to kind of fill in that gaps in the ecosystem and make sure that you're successful in your cloud journey. And what we've done with the GCP Marketplace is allow you as users to tap into that ecosystem of ISVs that we work with, that we partner with, that we vet and we bless, to help you discover great solutions, deploy them easily, and get a single bill. Right? So you have one single place to go with cloud. You can build your own infrastructure. You can add on ISV goods, get a single bill, and be up and running on your cloud journey. So why use GCP Marketplace? How many of you are already Marketplace customers today? Okay. How many of you were using Marketplace when we were called Launcher? Okay, small few. So last week we rebranded from GCP Launcher to GCP Marketplace. So we've got a new shiny logo and a bunch of new capabilities, which I'll walk you through really quickly. So what is a GCP Marketplace? Simply put, you can think about it as your Google Cloud Platform app store. Right? All the different things you want to do with app stores, like finding goods, trying them out, see what solutions work for your problems. We standardize deployments. So what that means is when you find an ISV solution, you can be guaranteed that you're running their solution using the best patterns and practices on Google Platform. So there's really not a great reason to kind of roll your own or do it yourself anymore. ISVs are working with us, packaging their goods in a standard way, making it really, really easy to deploy and get up and running. The next is cloud-native billing models. You may be used to enterprise agreements where you're locked in for maybe multiple months or multiple years. As you know, with cloud, those dynamics change. Right? We're used to per second, per minute billing. And the same is true with our marketplace. So many of our marketplace solutions are actually built along those models, where you're just paying for what you use and not more than what you actually need. And you're getting this all in a single bill. So from a procurement perspective, you're able to try things out. Ultimately, when you decide to run them in production and workloads, you get one bill from Google across all of your third parties and your infrastructure usage on Google Cloud Platform. As I mentioned before, all of our solutions in the marketplace are vetted by Google. And what that means is we have deep relationships, both contractual and otherwise, with each of our vendors. And that means when there's a vulnerability or there is an update, those vendors are obligated to push updates to the marketplace. And what that means for you as a customer is that you can be assured that if you're deploying something from the marketplace, you're getting the latest and greatest, and it's going to be maintained, and these aren't vendors that are going to disappear on you, next year. We actually have a whole suite of technologies behind the scenes that we use to security scan all of our solutions. We check for the latest CVEs, so if there's a vulnerability in a core operating system image that maybe is not from the vendor itself, but the vendor is using that operating system image, we're able to detect that, work with the vendors, get it patched and upgraded. So really a secure way of running any software from ISVs in the cloud. And last but certainly not least here is easy access to support from vendors. The marketplaces are great because it's a self-service model. You don't need to pick up the phone and call a salesperson. But if you do ever need help, we connect you to support quite easily throughout the product. As I mentioned before, we're a growing ecosystem and marketplace. We're now up at 800 solutions from over 150 partners. If you want to applause, that's fine. Yeah, it's a huge number. We've been growing tremendously. This is 4x where we were last year, so it's a really, really tremendous pace of growth for Google, for you all, and for our whole ecosystem. You probably recognize a lot of the big names here. We have products across the board from security, networking, storage, data analytics, I mean, you name it, and we're constantly adding more. We're also proud to announce as of last week support for Kubernetes applications, commercial Kubernetes applications specifically in our marketplace. We're actually the only cloud platform provider, public cloud platform provider today offering commercial Kubernetes applications. And we've been partnering with a great set of companies you see up here already. These are all live today in the marketplace you can try out. And we have a whole host more coming. A couple quick points. How many of you are running Kubernetes engine today in Google Cloud? Great. With the solutions we've built on the marketplace, all of these can be click deployed onto a Kubernetes engine cluster. So that means you can come to the user experience and just in a matter of a couple of minutes, you can get up and running with any of these solutions. You can actually run these solutions not just in Kubernetes engine. You can actually take them and run them on-prem or in another Kubernetes environment. Maybe you're running Kubernetes on GCE or using other infrastructure, you can still use these solutions. And for the commercial solutions, you still get one single bill from Google. So think about that for a moment. You start your journey in cloud, maybe you prototype your offering or your larger application in cloud using third-party software, and you can actually take that same stack and bring it into a different environment. And for the commercial Kubernetes applications, you still get one unified bill from Google for your usage across clouds. So pretty powerful capability, something we're really proud of and actually really excited to offer you. All of our solutions that are commercial get metered through Google, so you get one bill from us. But more importantly, you're only paying for your usage. So in the virtual machine world, you typically pay for maybe VM hour or core hours. With our Kubernetes commercial solutions, you can actually pay on different dimensions. For example, a database vendor might charge you based on the number of gigabytes stored, not the compute instance hours. So a lot of flexibility. A lot of these solutions are billing based on dimensions that matter more to the application. So it gives you a lot of flexibility for pricing, costing, and evaluating these solutions. Like I said, you can deploy anywhere. You still continue to get that single great bill from Google. Our partners are super excited to kind of be trailblazers. Here's a quick quote from Aqua Security, a large partner of ours, just talking about the opportunity of getting in front of customers. I think the thing I want you to take away from this message is it's not just Google pushing these solutions with you. It's actually vendors looking at the marketplace and saying, this is the channel by which we want to transact, and this is the channel by which we want our customers to consume our goods. So really great cohesive relationship. Like I said, we're over 800 solutions this year and growing like crazy. So with that, why don't I quickly turn to the demo and walk you through some of the interesting points of the actual marketplace. So the first thing to note is the Google Cloud Platform Marketplace is a part of the Google Cloud Platform Console that you're already using. It's really easy to access. It's actually the first menu item. We've done this intentionally because if the marketplace is going to be your place for discovering all kinds of products, we want that to be front and center. I want to highlight a few other things we've done around discovery. You can, of course, access the marketplace from the menu here, but oftentimes you might be in a particular part of the console experiencing a problem. Maybe you're configuring a network setting in GCP and you realize that you need an additional capability that's not currently offered by the platform. One of the things we've been doing on the platform is saying, how can we make it easier for you as a customer to discover solutions from ISVs wherever you may be in the console? Let me quickly show you what that looks like. So here I am at my home page in Cloud Console, and let's say I were in that networking section. So let's say I go Network Services. What you'll see here is, of course, I can configure my load balancing settings and whatnot, but you can also see a call out here directly to the marketplace. And when you click this, you actually get this overlay of tailored solutions that are specific to that section. So in this case, our engine was smart enough to pick up that you were in the networking area, and it's going to show you networking solutions that it thinks might be useful for you. And we've done these integrations throughout the console. So you don't have to go directly to the marketplace all the time. You can actually discover these solutions from wherever you might be. I want to talk to you really briefly, or take you through what the marketplace actually looks like and some of the behaviors there. As I mentioned, we have lots and lots of products, and they span a variety of different types. So we have virtual machines, container images, public data sets, APIs and services, Kubernetes solutions, operating systems, et cetera. But what we also do is we also have all of our Google Cloud Platform products there. And the reason why that's important is because what we're trying to do is create a way where you as a customer, if you have a problem, you can come to one place and find a solution. Sometimes that solution might come from Google, and many times that solution might come from ISVs. But we don't believe in a world where you have to go to one place to find Google products and another place to find others. We want to have one kind of house where you can find all of these. And not just that, you should be able to find solutions across types, whether it's a data set, a virtual machine, or a container. You can be able to choose what works best for you. And so we have really robust filtering. So if you were interested only in, let's say, Kubernetes applications, you could click that, and you can actually see only those solutions. And of course, you can filter down to subcategories and get into, for example, the database solutions there. The next thing I want to show you is what we've done with our deployable products, so virtual machines and Kubernetes applications. I want to show you how those work and how you can quickly deploy those yourselves. So I'll quickly take, let's say, WordPress, kind of the hello world of cloud, as sometimes we call it. So here you see the basic details page. You get a good estimate of how much it costs to run. You can see that it's a really popular solution from a lot of deployments recently. Learn about the solution. We give you a table on the side, which is showing you exactly how much this solution is going to cost you. So we have a standard default configuration. All of our deployable products are built with smart defaults that we work with the vendors with. And so you know that if you're just click deploying, you're going to be in a known good state, and you also get great pricing understanding just right off of the screen here. And if you've been using Google Cloud Platform for some time, you're probably familiar with our sustained use discounts. A lot of the products you'll be using are probably going to be running for weeks or months, and so we actually factor in that pricing right here as well. Many of our solutions also offer trials, and so I'm going to show you that really quickly here. And so we're showing Matillion later as well, but you can see here's a Matillion solution offering a 14-day free trial. And what that means is you as an end customer only pay for the infrastructure costs, so the VMs that are running this product, but not the license fee for that time period. It's really a great way to try out new products, really risk-free. And if you decide you like it, you can just continue running. You don't need to shut things down. You don't need to migrate your environment. You just continue what you're doing. And if you decide it's not for you or you want to try something else, you can just shut it down, and you can, you won't be charged for those license fees. So another great benefit of Google Cloud Platform Marketplace. Another is the ability to try a free test drive. So we kind of have two kinds of trial modes. One is the trials I mentioned earlier, and another is test drive. Test drives are a capability that allow you as a customer to quickly see the application up and running in an environment, oftentimes with a preloaded tutorial or sample data. These typically run for a few days or sometimes even shorter periods of time. They're really meant to just give you a quick familiarity with the solution and see if it's right for you. So you can really start your journey maybe with a test drive, understand what the solution's about, talk to your team, see, okay, maybe this is a good solution for us, then kick up a trial, for this case, 14 days, put your data in, try it out, and if it's going to be good for you, you just continue running. If not, you spin down. So really, really flexible model there. And with our commercial solutions, again, on the pricing table, we show you detailed costing. So you can see here, you have the usage fee, you get a solution trial credit for those first 14 days. We show you, again, the basic instance infrastructure cost as well. So that covers virtual machines. Our Kubernetes solutions are very similar. We also offer services. I'm going to show you that next. So SendGrid is a great email API. I'm sure many of you may be already using today. In this case, I've already subscribed to a plan. But one thing you'll take away here is I've actually subscribed to SendGrid, and I can actually manage my subscription right from within the Google Cloud Platform Marketplace itself. So I don't need to go to SendGrid's site and log in again. I can change my plans right here. So it's really, really integrated. Again, single bill from Google to manage all of these services. I want to quickly jump next to Kubernetes engine and show you what we've been doing there. So keeping on with this theme of how do we get applications in context of the problem that you might be having, we've actually done an integration with Kubernetes engine where you can actually see Kubernetes applications from right within the console. So here I am. I click Applications. I can deploy from Cloud Marketplace. Again, I get a filtered list. I only see Kubernetes applications. We have both commercial ones and open source. And I can go through any of these and deploy. You can see the similar details pages. And I can get up and running. So hopefully it gives you a good sense of the different kinds of inventory we have, the different products. Again, you're getting a single bill from Google. Really easy to spin up, try things, or shut things down as the case might be. Let me switch back to slides. So another interesting benefit of the Google Cloud Platform Marketplace is actually helping you run open source. And we've actually made a pretty substantial investment over the years in this program we call Google Click to Deploy. Many of you may be using these packages already, and we've made some recent improvements. So I want to quickly talk through what that looks like. The spirit behind the Click to Deploy program is really accelerating your use of open source in cloud. It's just really that simple. The way we do that is we take standard open source products and we package them in ways that you would have done yourself. So these are vanilla applications. We intentionally do things in a way where you can continue following blog posts, Stack Overflow tutorials, etc. We don't tamper the packages. What we do is make sure that they're optimized and run well on GCP. So you kind of have that trust that if you're deploying, Django, Ruby, or any of these, you're going to be in a known good state from the start. Vanilla configurations, as I mentioned, they continue to be community supported. And so you can follow, again, any of the tutorials, blogs that you might have out there, or work with any of the vendors that offer support on top of open source applications. Many of these solutions are actually packaged in a way that you can actually run them in production really well. So it's one thing to run a single node LAMP stack, but it's another to run a 7-node cluster MongoDB instance. And if you've ever had to configure something like that, you know that that takes hours, sometimes days of your time. And getting it right can be quite tricky. With our program here, you can actually run a clustered Mongo, for example, in under 5 minutes. So really, really easy to get up and started with open source. We offer VM images. We offer base container images you can use as well. So if you're hosting in your own container environment, you can just use those. We have Kubernetes applications that we've added as well. So really big investment from the open source side from Google. For the general GCP Marketplace, we're also focused on making sure that it's a great way for you to accelerate your prototyping. So we talked about some of these benefits of deploying in a few clicks. We have these smart pre-configured settings, so you're always going to start in a good state. Each of our solutions comes with really robust getting started guides and tutorials. One of the most frustrating experiences we all can relate to is trying something out and then just being stuck and not knowing what to do next. So that's kind of the thing with all of our solutions, whether it's from Google or from a third-party provider, really robust tutorials, getting started guides, making sure you don't get stuck. Again, really low risk. We talked about trials. You can try solutions out. We have trials ranging from 14 days to 30 days, depending on the vendor. So really robust. You can actually apply free trial credits. So if you're new to GCP or evaluating GCP, you have that budget of $300 odd. You can actually use that budget towards any solution on our marketplace. So it could even be a commercial solution. And you can, in addition to that, use free trial solutions while you're on a GCP free trial, if that makes sense. So really, really low risk way to try out the platform and check out new apps. So it's great for open source, it's great for prototyping, but it's also really great for production. So I want to talk to you briefly about how we think about that. So the journey just doesn't stop when you're prototyping, right? You want to have these multi-VM cluster configurations that you can depend on in production, and that's what we've done, whether it's our open source solutions through the Click to Deploy program, or whether it's through our vendors, clustered applications that you can actually take to production. We also offer a lot of flexible pricing models, including BYOL. So if you have existing relationships with a vendor, you can tap into those. Support integration. One of the key things of going to production is making sure that the vendor is going to have your support. And all of our marketplace vendors are contracted to offer that support that they list on their details page. With Kubernetes, I've written as one line, but it's actually the power of Kubernetes is quite strong here. With Kubernetes solutions, you can actually take the commercial application, bring it down, open it up, customize it, and redeploy it. Again, you still get metered, still get billed, you get one single bill from Google. And with the power of Kubernetes, you get some of the additional benefits like auto healing. So if one particular instance or node goes down, it'll quickly come back up just because Kubernetes has that capability built for you. Another big focus for us is making sure solutions are secure. So we talked about the verification pipeline that constantly runs to make sure the latest vulnerabilities are detected. And we work very closely with our vendors to make sure that the latest versions are put up on the marketplace as soon as possible. And in addition to all of those, another thing you want to do in production is make sure that you have a way to tweak these configurations. You're not just getting stock things from Google, and if you need to break glass, you have to start from scratch again. So it talks a little bit about how we do that on the Kubernetes side. We also do something very similar on virtual machines. So all of our virtual machine solutions are packaged using Deployment Manager. How many of you are familiar with Deployment Manager today or using it? Okay. So Deployment Manager is our kind of cloud resource configuration language. It's a declarative configuration language where you can write up exactly what you need to run, give it to an engine called Deployment Manager, and it will bring up that infrastructure. And what you should be taking away from this with a marketplace is that all of our VM solutions are packaged with Deployment Manager. So once you deploy, you can bring it down, you can open it up, you can tweak things. In this case, I'm showing you a MongoDB instance where you can actually tweak the zone or the number of replicas or number of arbiters or even the sizes of the machines. And again, just from the command line, quickly redeploy that in a matter of maybe a minute or two and be up and running, perhaps in a new availability zone. So really robust, great for CI/CD workloads, really easy to deploy and tear down as well. Just to summarize, we talked about a lot of different inventory today in our marketplace, and the list keeps growing, which is really exciting. So we have virtual machines, we deploy on Compute Engine. We have base container images where you can use actually in any environment. These are open source packages maintained by Google that you can layer on top of in your applications. We have Kubernetes applications, both commercial and open source. We offer a wide variety of APIs and services as well. We also have a huge investment in public datasets. So for those of you using BigQuery, it's a great way to get started. We have dozens of public datasets from weather data to geospatial data there for you to use. And as I mentioned earlier, all of the GCP products are listed in our marketplace. So you have one-stop shop to find any solution to a problem. In terms of management, many of the solutions are self-managed, if it's the case of virtual machines, in Kubernetes applications. And for our services, those are more of a SaaS style, so the vendors taking care of the management for you. And when it comes to billing, we're a lot of flexibility here. We have free solutions like our open source ones. We have trials. We have test drives. Most of our solutions have the integrated billing, so you get one single bill from Google. Many of the services are billed from the partner directly, and we also offer BYOL. So really, really flexible depending on your needs. What I want to share with you next is a story of how a customer, like perhaps yourselves, actually got in touch with the Google Cloud Marketplace and explored it, found a great solution, and are running it in production. So I want to introduce Ian first from Home Depot QuoteCenter, and in a bit, Laura from Matillion. I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Neil.
Yep.
I'm Ian Knight. I'm a business intelligence architect for QuoteCenter. I've been in IT for about 18 years. I've worked in various roles, development, engineering, architecture, and leadership. I've worked in local government, the retail, web, and financial services sector. QuoteCenter was founded about 10 years ago and acquired by Home Depot 4 years ago. Our goal is to be the center of excellence, driving contractor sales, which is a $600 billion market. We want Home Depot to be the place of choice for contractors, just as it is for consumers. To support that, our goal was to migrate our existing BI environment, which provided reporting and analytic capabilities. The current environment had scalability issues. The code had become a little bit unwieldy. We had a company strategy to move to GCP. We looked at a serverless architecture first and settled on BigQuery as a platform. We tried to run our existing tools, but it really wasn't a good fit. Now, our team and our current environment were built around the Microsoft stack, so this was a big culture and technology shift for us. So we needed a new approach. So we got the team in a room and we came up with some criteria that made sense for us. Cost was definitely a concern. We wanted a tool that would help transition our skills. We wanted something that would integrate with source control. We had some source system requirements like SQL, Salesforce, and Elasticsearch. We knew we wanted to transform the data and apply our business rules. We wanted a tool that was scalable. We knew we needed to schedule jobs, and we knew we wanted monitoring capabilities. We also wanted a tool that was hosted in Google Cloud. Another important thing for us was that we had a tool that worked in multiple environments, our dev, test, QA, and production. So we did we have about 50 years combined experience in our team, and we did what any self-respecting IT professional would do. We Googled BigQuery ETL tools. That took us to the partner page, and there are a lot of offerings in the partner page. We talked to some of them. We did some demos. We got some high-pressure sales pitches. It wasn't optimal. Another theme we saw in the partner page was a lot of the offerings were actually hosted on AWS, which from a security and performance perspective wasn't really optimal for us. There were also other solutions outside of the marketplace, but generally they required you to install and manage your own infrastructure. Again, not optimal. So one of the partners we found was Matillion. One of the things we liked was for 99 cents an hour, we could just spin the instance up. We didn't need to talk to a sales rep. We didn't need to negotiate a proof of concept. So that's what we did. We launched the instance. We poked around. It looked like a tool that might meet our needs. The interface was pretty familiar. The transformations made sense to us. It was hosted in Google Cloud Platform. So we reached out to Matillion, and they worked with us. They gave us an introduction. They helped us as we moved forward. We actually went back to the marketplace and launched a beefier instance to run our production environment on. One of the things we really liked was we could make use of the APIs and import all our code and configuration straight from source, so definite benefit there. So where are we now? With the combination of BigQuery and Matillion, Our team, Eng, Cynthia, Phil, and Vitaly, have been able to load source and model data into BigQuery. We've been following engineering practices probably more commonly seen in app dev teams. One of our engineers, Vitaly, was able to automate our deployments between environments. He integrated source control. He integrated alerting with Slack. We're currently in the process of building data quality checks within Matillion. We're about 80% migrated from our on-prem, and Home Depot teams outside of QuoteCenter now solely use our BigQuery implementation. We feel like we're much better positioned for the analytic demands of a growing company, and we put ourselves in a better position as we move more towards a streaming architecture and real-time analytic capabilities. Few takeaways. BigQuery is fundamentally different from other platforms we've used, so embrace its strengths. One of the things we've done is working with Home Depot's implementation of BigQuery. We've been easily able to integrate the work they've done and use their projects and data sets rather than recreating the same work on our side. We've been able to use Cloud Launcher or Google Marketplace to go back and launch new instances as Matillion has come out with updates, and we've been able to test them to make sure there were no breaking changes in the way we used Matillion. One of the things taking advantage of the parameterization in Matillion, we're able to point to a completely blank environment and deploy all our staging table, views, permissions, all straight from source control. One final thing. As we started to do things that weren't out of the box for Matillion, we learned to use the Python scripting and the Google API to fill in the gaps. I'd like to hand it over to Laura from Matillion.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you very much, Ian. So hopefully you can hear me there. Thank you very much, Ian. So hi, everyone. My name's Laura Malins. I'm a solution architect here at Matillion. And today I'm just going to give you some of the highlights of what is available within the Matillion product. So I'll just switch across to my demo machine. And here we can see the Matillion ETL page for BigQuery on the GCP platform, so available within the marketplace, as Angel showed. And here we've got our 14-day free trial of the product. This is really popular with our customers, so they can see how the product will work within their own environment. You can also try out the test drive of the product, so you can try the product in a sandbox environment completely outside of your GCP project, so you can see what the product does. And then when you decide to launch, you just click through on the Launch to Compute Engine button, and it is very, very quick to launch up Matillion. And the really nice thing we find about launching Matillion within the marketplace is that you've got the ability to configure those resources as you need it. So you can choose how many CPUs you want in your Matillion instance. You can also choose how much RAM to allocate to that. And then once the instance is launched, it'll literally spin up in 2 minutes. And it'll spin up as a VM within your own GCP project. And now if I jump across, you access that VM via the web browser. And this is Matillion ETL for BigQuery. And there are 2 main jobs available within Matillion. There's a transformation job, which is used for transforming all your data within BigQuery. And there's an orchestration job, which is used to bring all that data down into BigQuery. So Ian used an orchestration job to reach out to his on-premise databases, so his MS SQL databases, to connect out to that database and first of all move everything off the legacy systems, but also you can use it to bring data from incremental updates from data source systems as well. And Matillion, one of the real benefits of Matillion is it connects to a whole host of different source systems. So on your screen now, you can see an example orchestration job that we've got, and I'll just talk you through this briefly. So we've got 4 things happening in parallel here. First of all, we're creating some blank staging tables for us on BigQuery. We're then using our cloud storage load component to connect into a flat file, which is stored in a cloud storage bucket, and it'll copy the contents of that flat file down into BigQuery. In parallel, we're checking for an if condition, so we're checking if some data already exists within BigQuery, and then we're loading some data out from Google Analytics. We're also loading out some data from Microsoft SQL Server from our on-premise system. And we're connecting into Salesforce, so our Salesforce instance in the cloud, and we're pulling some accounts and opportunities data down here, and we're saying if that account loads fails, actually that's a key thing for my whole job. I want my whole job to fail. And once this is loaded, we can then transform our data as required within BigQuery and run that transformation job down there. And all of this is very, very easy to configure with Matillion. So I can see a list of components available down here. I can expand out my load unload folder. And here, this will give you a flavor of all of the different data sources that Matillion will connect into. So I want to add a new source in here, say HubSpot, for example. I just drag it and drop it, and it's a very user-friendly interface. It's all dragging and clicking and dropping, and it presents this visual view of Matillion. So I'll just scroll down and show you some more of the sources available here. So I think at the last count, we were up to about 60-odd data sources, but we're constantly receiving feedback from customers, and we're always adding to these sources here as well. And then finally, we've got this API query component. So for a native source, for your data that Matillion doesn't have a connector for, you can use this API query component to connect in, and Matillion can pull that data from your API down into BigQuery. And these sources are very easy to configure. You can simply click into one of them, and it's just a selection of options. So in Salesforce, I can choose my authentication via, say, username and password or via OAuth. Then I pick the authentication that I've already got set up. And now what Matillion does is it will connect into Salesforce as you as a user. So it takes a few seconds to do that because it's connecting in through. And what it will do now is it will present a list of all of the objects that I've got available for me in Salesforce that I've authenticated to access. So it will show that list, and it will show all of the custom objects within Salesforce now. So I think it's taking a couple of seconds to load that because the Wi-Fi is quite slow. And then once you've configured from that data source, you pick down that drop-down, you select which fields you want to bring through from that source, and then you simply give the name of the new table that Matillion is going to create for you in BigQuery to write that data through into. So here now we can see the list of all those data sources, and we can see that Matillion will bring any custom ones back for us. And then once I've got all the data available within BigQuery, I can then transform it. So here's my transformation job. I've got different components because this is all about working within BigQuery and really harnessing the power of BigQuery to manipulate and transform our data as we require. So then you can feed that data out into your business intelligence tool, or you can pass it on to your data scientists, as Ian did. OK, perfect. So I'll just hand back over to Anne Hill for the last bit.
And so just to recap, hopefully what you've taken away today is you can really accelerate your journey in cloud and your solutions development using the GCP Marketplace. You get that single bill from Google for your licenses as well as your infrastructure, making it really, really easy to procure and try things out. And hopefully you've also understood that we have solutions across the board, whether it's datasets, containers, VMs, APIs, et cetera. So really, really broad inventory, 800 plus solutions. Here's a link, cloud2google.com/marketplace. Go give it a spin, check it out for a trial. If you're a partner and you want to participate and be part of our growing ecosystem, we've got a link up here where you can actually get in touch with our sales team and get you onboarded. And last but not least, don't forget to drop in your feedback in the Google Cloud Next app about the session.